Joining me now is John Brummett with the Arkansas News Bureau. His political columns appear there 5 days a week.
At least. Seems like more.
And his blog, John Brummett's blog, is at arkansasnews.com too. Good to see you.
That's where it is, and good to be here.
Yeah. Let's talk about something you've been blogging about and you've been writing about in your columns. The Supreme Court of the United States. Barack Obama gets his first appointee to the Supreme Court, and he picks Sonia Sotomayor. Did I say that right?
Very good.
You proud of me?
Right.
She has a great personal story. This looks like a layup if you listen to all of the pundits that are talking. Tell me why this is going to be such an easy nomination.
It's not going to be easy because it's going to be loud. It's going to be contentious. But first, everything's about the story, I think. I think compelling personal stories are powerful, far more powerful than telling people what they ought to think is to tell people a story and bring them along, let them think on their own. Her story is as rich as Obama's, practically. And I just think that's a powerful force. Then the raw politics of the growing Hispanic vote. Plus, she's been confirmed twice, and for the federal district court and for appeals court with some contention. I just think that while we're going to hear a lot about some things she said, and there's going to be a lot of back and forth. I think she's going to be. I think she'll be confirmed fairly easily in the end, and the Republicans would not dare filibuster against a historic first Hispanic woman nominated for the Supreme Court. I just can't see that happening.
The Hispanic vote is not as large or as strong in Arkansas, but you also have Senator Blanche Lincoln heading into re-election next year, Senator Mark Pryor just coming off of re-election. Any danger for them loudly supporting her candidacy or her appointment?
Possibly, if the Republicans, the only thing the Republicans can do with this nomination successfully is say she's a liberal, and therefore the man who nominated her is a liberal, and they are out of the mainstream, so we're more in the mainstream. It's a rhetorical game for them. Lincoln and Pryor, I think, will use the word loudly. I think they'll vote for without saying a word. I think they'll be mute rather than loud. I think and they will hope that she can convey a kind of centrism that will keep them covered politically in Arkansas. I don't see any danger unless there is some danger. I don't see any danger unless she turns out to be considered far more liberal than she is now. And if they get strung out, tied to her, should that happen. And I don't think either of those things is going to happen.
Talking about the U.S. Senate race for next year, on the GOP side, let's talk about some of the candidates that are rumored to be in the race or have expressed their interest in being in the race. Let's start with Hendren, the first GOP person to say that he's going to run. He seems to be backtracking on that a little bit now. He also seems to have settled down a little bit from his comments of controversy a couple weeks ago. Do you think he still gets in the race?
I don't. I don't think he'll ever file. And oddly, or not oddly, but before his comment about Chuck Schumer referring to him as the Jew or that Jew, whatever he said, prominent Republicans were telling me they doubted he was going to file. Said he's just out there having a good time. He's got his truck fixed up. He's got his cell number on it. He's driving around. People are listening to him talk. He's 71. He gives them a chance to get out of Gravette and have some fun. But he's talking about spending $1 million, and he hadn't spent any. And hadn't hired anybody, and they really doubted whether he'd run at all. And as soon as he got in, I think to have said what he said, which does not reveal him to be anti-Semitic, just a loose cannon, it was an implosion. He simply cannot be the Republican nominee, having said that, and I think he won't file.
Curtis Coleman is another exploratory candidate at this point in time. He's filed papers to look into a U.S. Senate run. We found out this week that he's launched a website that looks a little bit more than exploratory if you comb through it. I would say that he is all but gotten in the race. Would you agree?
I suspect he will file. He's going to a lot of trouble if he doesn't. He's an old Huckabee guy. You know, he was a good friend of Mike Huckabee, and he was Huckabee's campaign manager in 1992 when Huckabee ran against bumpers for the United States Senate. He has a background himself as an evangelical minister. Or an evangelical. I think he did some preaching, and now he's in the Rosenbaum's business, the Safe Foods, which is some sort of biotech food thing that you know far more about than I do. I hope, because I know absolutely nothing about it. But yeah, I think there is a place for the Huckabee wing of the party and a Central Arkansas, a Little Rock-based candidate in this race, and it looks like he intends to be it. He's never run. I don't know that he brings any political skill to the equation, and I would not expect him to be the eventual nominee, but it looks like he's a candidate.
The eventual nominee could be Gilbert Baker, state senator from Conway, who is seemingly a little bit more in the race as every day goes by, helped probably by the fact that Tim Griffin has said that he is not going to run, or it looks like he's not going to file for the seat. Gilbert Baker's their best shot, you think?
I do. The day after Kim Hendren announced, I was asking Baker what he intended to do, and he was saying, well, Kim says he's going to spend $1 million. He's got the Northwest Arkansas base. I looked down at Little Rock. There are 2 or 3 guys going to run down there. At the time you heard Coleman, you heard Griffin, you heard even French Hill. And he said, I got young kids at home. And I said, well, you're all but saying you're not running. And he said, I'm all but saying that, but I'm not saying that. Because I think he had an idea that the landscape could change. Perhaps he had made an assessment of whether Kim Hendren might actually follow. I don't know. But he would not absolutely say no. And since then, all those things he cited as reasons for him to stay home are gone. Hendren has imploded, is probably not going to be a factor. Tim Griffin is not running. I never thought Tim Griffin was running. I thought he was just having some fun and being a stalking horse and messing with Blanche, going around the state with his blog and his Twitter and his speeches. He's an operative, not a candidate. So he's left with the one guy, Coleman, no Northwest Arkansas regional opposition, and nobody promising to spend $1 million of his own money. So I think it's just sort of the sea has parted for Gilbert. I think I bet we end up with 3 or 4 Republican candidates. And at this point, I think it's entirely possible Gilbert Baker would win it without a runoff, without having to appear too conservative, because there's no Northwest Arkansas conservative as yet to force him to appeal to the Jim Holt types, and so he could. And if he could come out of a Republican primary unscathed and seeming moderate, he could be a legitimately formidable candidate.
The Arkansas Lottery Commission has been meeting off and on for about the last month. They finally seem to be getting a little bit of organization, but they also seem to be spinning their wheels, in my estimation. Is this a more interesting business story at this point, or is this a more interesting political story still?
It's not a very interesting story either way, is it? I'm surprised. I don't know exactly what you mean by spinning your wheels. I don't know how they could hit the ground running. They have to go through some organizational. Well, taking off for a retreat, a first step to Petit-Jean, that was kind of wheel spinning, I guess. They need to hire the people, mm-hmm. And they need to have an application process, and they can't do anything until they have a staff in place that is going to be a permanent staff. So seems to me that's moving as expeditiously as it ought to be. You've been a business guy. Maybe it ought to be quicker. I don't know.
I see they've had about 3 meetings in a row where all they've really done in terms of transactions has been talked about applications they've received. It's,
Well, maybe it's not that they're moving too slow, it's that they're having too many meetings without anything to do.
Could be.
I think their executive director, and this is a key hire, will be either Tom Courtway. I think Tom Courtway is one of 2 finalists. They're going to consider Tom Courtway, and they're going to consider the best of the field. Tom Courtway against the field and the best of it. I don't know which way it would go. Courtway would be fine with me. And, others worry that he's too tied to the legislature and there's something inappropriate. I think he's uncommonly competent, and he actually would help legislators stay out of it because they trust him. And I think they've had some other good applications. But it is time to get going if we want to have some scholarships and go out and buy some lottery tickets.
And you need to win your lottery ticket.
I do not intend.
There's no way that you can win the lottery without playing the lottery.
No. I wrote that I would buy a lottery ticket the day after I watched Dancing with the Stars, and I never intend to do either one. But you will share your winnings with me, I hope.
John Brummett with the Arkansas News Bureau, and soon to be Dancing with the Stars contestant. I'm coming after you.
I'm not going to be a contestant or an observer.
The next American Idol, John Brummett. We're back with more right after the break.